Hey all you people, the holy month of Spooktober is nearing its end, and that means it is time for horror movie marathons and the like to spirit us through to the 31st. As a lifetime fan of the spooky and disturbing, I feel obligated to help you, viewers looking for new picks, discover what I consider perfect Halloween material. Now, what makes a Halloween movie? I'm not just picking the most disturbing things I can find. The holiday asked for a certain mood, a vibe if you will. Whether it's spooky pastoral dread on a full moon or a colorful light show of carnage, there's a level of cheese you should play into here. I've chosen to rank this list on a scale of tame to genuinely disturbing. If you're a hardcore fan of the genre, those on the far end will shock you. But if you want light scares without the NC-17 content, I've got you covered too. Lastly, while I do have a few select films I have every year as absolute essentials, I supplement this list with newer discoveries so that it's not just the same thing every year. And so, starting at the bottom, let me introduce you to The Innocents, an atmospheric haunted house tale that is perfect old-time haunting. Deborah Kerr lends fear and anxiety to the mysterious goings-on surrounding the estate of her new care, two neglected children. And even the child actors give great, creepy performances that'll have you guessing till the very end whether something evil rests in the house or in these people. Nosferatu the Vampire is a rich gothic horror crafted by none other than Werner Herzog. If you've ever fondly pored through the classic grotesque writings of Edgar Allan Poe or Frankenstein, or if you've already seen your share of the OG black and white Nosferatu, Cabinet of Caligari, etc., this 1979 feature offers a compelling argument for the power of remakes. Klaus Kinski plays a one-of-a-kind, creepy vampire, whose humanity is as frightening as his monster. Isabelle Adjani is also memorable as a gothic dame washed out with horror. Herzog fully understands the heart of the vampire. The writers of the era were not so much looking to create monsters to make a franchise out of, but incorporating scientific and philosophical fascinations of the time. The pain of immortality, fear of death, plague, all shape the macabre machinations of this classic. The Shining, this will always be my personal template for what a classic horror movie is. If it's been a while since you've seen it, try adding it to your list anyway, because Kubrick makes the kind of film that changes and transforms as you grow. It ranks low because really it's not overtly violent, but that doesn't stop it from feeling like it is. Super creepy, super iconic. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall, The Outlook Hotel, even Danny. The world hasn't been able to stop thinking of this movie ever since its release. The Silence of the Lambs is similarly a classic Hollywood horror, whose influence is still felt at pop-up Halloween shops everywhere. I saw this for the first time this year, so it's not here as an every year, believe it or not. It has a great thriller story inside it, which keeps it exciting and emotionally investing, with Jodie Foster bringing to life one of the great American screen heroes, and Anthony Hopkins an all-time villain and horror icon, Hannibal Lecter. This one gets quite a bit more violent than The Shining, but there is a theatricality to it that I think softens the blow, just enough to not be traumatizing. Hausu, or House. Now this is the movie that will be on my list every year. I think it is the ultimate film that captures the spirit of a Halloween movie. It's a haunted house on drugs, absolutely wild and colorful and imaginative, both a lot of fun, but also, under the surface, horrifying, especially the more you've seen it. Kobayashi combines Japanese commercials, ghost stories, kung fu, and endearingly handmade special effects to make every moment stimulating. Yes, it's bizarre, but 'tis the season for letting your freak flag fly, and Hausu is doing just that. Inland Empire. I had to find a way to put David Lynch on here. And nothing captures the nightmare like this one. It's a beast at 3 hours, but if you put it on late and past that midnight hour, I think it only adds to the experience. You're transported to a half-wake state by this film, which I can't even really describe other than Laura Dern takes a role in a cursed film and cursed stuff happens. It's disorienting, creepy, and intuitively captivating, with images and segments that have stuck with me for years. If you really can't stomach it, I also ask you to consider Lost Highway. It's an underrated Lynch film and definitely one of his darkest and spookiest. It's a nocturnal demonic noir with some of the memeiest moments of any Lynch. Sinister but very fun and twisted. The Witch. Robert Eggers dropped a bomb on audiences in 2015 with The Vavitch, a gloomy dreadfest that helped usher in a wave of folk horror that, so far, has raised the quality of the genre. And I must confess, I don't think it's one of the all-time greatest horrors of the 2010s like some, but it is perfect for spooky season. I mean, The Witch is an S-tier Halloween icon, but her presence in film has always been lacking. But The Witch gets it. However, if you've already seen Witch, might I recommend Oni Baba, an older Japanese folk horror with a surprising amount of parallels, and equally uncomfortable. Climax. Yeah, alright. The party's on. Everyone's got their costumes, the room is drowned in candy-colored light, the hard apple cider is in the air. What the fuck? Gaspar Noé's Climax is an adrenaline-fueled dance horror set to thumping bass and delirious violence. It's as fun as it is disturbing, which is what makes it truly sinister. Are you enjoying this, you bastard? Are the roller coaster cinematography and stellar physical performances fun, you sick fuck? Gozu. Yakuza films have been subverted in many ways in Japan, but nothing like this. A carnivalesque grindhouse horror show. This is exactly what pops into my head when I envision an unlabeled VHS tape that you pick up in a Chinatown back alley. What would play when you put it into the TV? The Nagoya prefecture could sue Miike for his portrayal of the area, which essentially becomes hell. Beware the very gross body horror and off-putting psychosexual outbursts that occur. It climaxes with a scene that would make Gozu infamous contraband back in the day, except the rest of the movie is so creepy in its own right that the whole thing is a must-peep. Possession. Yeah, it's the movie at the end of the list. That's all you need to know about it. At the time of its release, it was either banned as a video nasty or heavily cut down, giving it a more grindhouse cult status. Brought to completion, though, is an art film made by a madman and led by a self-destructively invested performance by Isabelle Adjani. It seizes you with emotions early on, but then lovingly embraces the horror genre, making spooky elements of body horror, monsters, and the satanic resonate with you unlike other features. If you're this far on the list because you've seen all the disturbing classics, know that I went into Possession expecting to retrospectively appreciate an inspiration behind Antichrist, a spooky classic that's usually on my list. But Possession is above Antichrist. I think it fills some of the pockets that film lacks. Find it and watch it, if you dare. Farewell, my children. Stay safe out there. If you desire more content, discussions, and the like on film and spooky things, consider that subscribe button down there. Hit the bell, you know how this works.